Matt Rhule was asked about the comments that he made in the Chasing 3 episode. And we played this for you. Do we still have that on the video scoop?
Hey, look at me real quick. If you guys want to know why we've lost a lot of close games, you just saw it, okay? We thud here, but because there's people watching, you don't want to look stupid because you're leveraging the football. We're just grabbing people and pulling them down, which means either you're not a good athlete or you're not doing what we're trained to do. Our seniors, their first drive, they go sit on the bench at a practice.
Appreciate it.
And a fight breaks out. A fight breaks out in front of the fans. So I'll make my point. But this is why we lose. Because the minute there's people here, we don't do what we do anymore. How about we have...
Well, we won't play the whole thing because we've got other things. But that's the gist of it right there. When people are in the stadium, we don't do what we do. He's saying they're losing focus, they're pressing, they're getting out of what they're supposed to be doing when there's people in the stadium. And a lot of people, looked into those comments. We certainly talked about it. But Matt Rhule was asked about the reaction to those comments after the scrimmage on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a long answer, but here is Matt Rhule's answer. And he specifically goes after one media outlet who opined on what Matt Rhule had to say after that 1890 practice. Here was Rhule from Saturday.
I try very hard. I usually delete social media this time of year. I try very hard to not pay too much attention to social media this time of year because it's not good for anybody's brain. But yeah, I see some people took it the wrong way. Like Football Scoop, which is supposed to it's like represents coaches. I mean, it's like you're a coach. If you're a coach, you understand that pushing the guys to do is actually coaching, right? Drawing up plays isn't coaching, okay? Running individual drills isn't coaching. Coaching is tackling hard problems. So I was really disappointed in something that's supposed to be about football that can't understand that is growth. The fact that I have a team, that's not my team, but the fact that I'm able to coach a team that I can talk that directly to and that don't take it personally and they just handle it is why we're going to win. And so the fact that I care enough about them to tell them the truth, the fact that they care enough about me to tell me the truth, it's just, that's why this has been so, honestly, this has been one of the funnest experiences I've had in coaching.
I'm just going to go ahead and stop it there because that's the main point. I mean, he calls out Football Scoop.
What did they do?
Well, I went back and this was the article from John Bryce dated August 12th.
Okay.
And the article
about a week ago yesterday.
The article is entitled Losing Nebraska. Matt Rhule identifies Nebraska's losing problem. And it's basically a story about Nebraska and its inability to win one-score games. And I'll just read, because most of this article is actually quoting directly Matt Rhule.
Okay.
In my opinion,
is the frustration with the headline maybe?
Maybe, because when I read this article, and I'll just read parts of it. Here's the beginning from Football Scoop. For years now, Nebraska has set the standard in how to lose one possession or single-digit games.
Mm-hmm.
Proven program builder and rebuilder Matt Rhule is seeking to halt that pattern. And it's an absolute pattern at this point, not an aberration. Consider the Huskers were 1-5 a year ago in games decided by single digits as Rhule returned to the college landscape after an ill-fated run atop the Carolina Panthers. But that losing far predates Rhule's arrival in Lincoln. Nebraska was 2-15 in single-digit games combined across the 22 and 23 seasons. The Huskers fell flat 9 times in 2022 in games decided by 9 or fewer points. Amidst a recent weekend practice open to the public, Rhule halted action to deliver a stern message. And then this is where Bryce just directly quotes Matt Rhule. And then Bryce finishes, if the Huskers were mildly competent in single-digit games the past several seasons, they would have a couple of bowl games to show for their efforts. And so really, there's not a lot of opinion there. It's just...
Again,
it's
I do wonder if
it's stating a lot of the same things that we were stating.
And it's just packaging it around the video itself.
Right. But it's because we read it the same way as Football Scoop did.
Yeah, we
that this was, hey, this is Matt Rhule saying, this is why you guys have been losing, which is literally what he said. This is why you guys have been losing. When there's people in the stadium, when the lights are on, you guys start drifting away from your teaching.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm really kind of confused as to why Rhule took exception with this, because there wasn't a lot of harsh analysis. In fact, it was a lot of factual information.
Using his words
around that story. Maybe. And listen, I get where Rhule's coming from, because what Rhule is saying is hey, I'm confident enough in these guys at this point of their development in this program where I can be this way with them.
See, that's the part of the answer that I really liked hearing. Mainly because, again, I don't really know where the frustration kind of lies with Football Scoop. I thought that part of the answer was cool, though, where it was more like, I spoke to them that way because I feel like we are able to do that. A lot of people pointed out this year, John, whether it was like spring ball or summer discourse or now that training camp is well underway, that the way he's like talking to the team and the way he is talking about the team is much different than it was a year ago. And it's because it's about leveling up. They're trying to level up now and go from what they were doing last year, which is like, understand the basics, understand what is expected of you. Mm-hmm. Now you've long known that. And so now it's about executing on top of that, knowing what is expected, but also going in there and actually doing it.
Yeah.
So the fact that he feels very comfortable to be able to say something like that, I thought that was one of the, cool parts of this. Interesting answer though, overall.
Yeah. And again, this was probably just one, look at Twitter and, maybe he was just in the wrong mood. Or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But I did find it to be kind of an overreaction because I didn't think Football Scoop went out of bounds. They
definitely not.
They stated nothing but fact.
Yeah.
Nebraska's horrible record in one loss and one score games, or one score in single digit games.
By the way, somebody just sent me a message with the tweet from Football Scoop. Originally.
Okay.
Because you just said maybe it was a tweet. So this person says, might be this tweet that bothered Rhule. He mentioned social media. So here was the tweet. Doesn't bode well for #Huskers. Let's hope Rhule and co gets this cleaned up before week 1.
Okay, now it makes sense.
Yep, exactly.
Now it makes sense.
Yes, it does indeed. And it's funny.
Though I would say,
I think I remember seeing this now. Did somebody retweet it onto my timeline?
But remember, that was kind of the reaction we all had was, it's interesting that he's pointing this out.
For sure. And how many people did you hear in that moment say, oh my gosh, does this change how we're going to view the season? Yeah. But yeah, that tweet is definitely framed in a way different way than the actual story.
It certainly is, but Rhule still is saying, this is why you guys lose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a direct quote from him.
Yeah, sure.
So it's a teaching moment.
Yeah. Maybe some of it is, I'm allowed to talk about him that way. You're not allowed, it's like family. If I say, your cousin is an idiot, you're like, whoa, only I'm allowed to say
man,
that.
I'm sorry, but
I'm allowed to say
I'm sorry, I've seen the numbers. The
idiot numbers.
Yeah.
No, the single-digit numbers?
You're trending.
Yeah, we've seen those too now.
You've been trending for a long time. And it's not just your fault. I mean, certainly the guy or guys before you.
Lots of guys.
Certainly helped.
Not any hits or misses.
No.
To that situation.
Jonathan Rutledge, you jerk.
Games.
Text from the 402. What if we named the big Husker game the Superb Owl? It's the Nebraska-Colorado Superb Owl pregame
That's
show.
true. That is the subreddit for the Super Bowl.
The Superb Owl.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. John, you're of Reddit.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
The John Cena subreddit is called Potato Salad.
Don't understand why.
It's because he's bland, like potato salad.
Wow.
Bland?
Is that true?
He was the top drawing star for a decade.
You can be popular and bland, John. Two things can be true.
Oh, so that's why Taylor Swift is so successful.
Wow.
Very bland.
From a certain point of view, yeah.
Wow. Look at Nick turning over a new leaf.
Can you, and that might be a dumb debate, can you be super popular and bland?
Oh, 100%
Absolutely.
you can. Yeah.
The two are mutually exclusive.
I don't think John Cena's bland.
I feel like Mike Trout, very bland.
But enough people do to
Very
make a
popular,
subreddit called Potato Salad to be the John Cena subreddit.
I try not to use Reddit as my guide for anything.
We know, John. We know.